Electricast.
Running a small business means I wear lots of hats. When I put on my hiring hat, I can count on LinkedIn Hiring Pro to make it easy. LinkedIn Hiring Pro helps manage my hiring workflow, puts my job post in front of a unique network of professionals, and matches me with the best candidates for my business. I can also share my job with my network. No other job site lets me do that. No wonder most small businesses say they'd use LinkedIn Hiring Pro again. Hire right the first time. Post your job for free on LinkedIn today at linkedin.com/quality.
What up? It's Interview Style, where we talk about movies and stuff. And when it comes to movies, unfortunately, there is a bitter truth. For a movie to be made, it really does have to be a business first. Conceptually, it can start as art, but in order for it to be made, it kind of has to be a business, right?
It is prohibitively expensive and necessarily collaborative to make a film, yes.
So much money, so much time.
So many people.
And because of that, it's always a gamble. If you write it, and even if you make it on the cheap, it's still art, but it's not art that everyone can enjoy unless it has some modicum of success. It's maybe the most expensive art. Disneyland costs billions of dollars. I know this because they are building Disneyland expansions off of the primary two parks here in California, and those cost multiples of billions each. Maybe the most expensive art. Maybe video games. I'm hearing that Grand Theft Auto 6 cost $1 billion to produce.
What?
And it's going to make it back within a couple of weeks. Easily. There's no way that won't be successful, but so expensive. So, sometimes the business trumps the art, and it never makes it. Have you ever heard of BATGIRL?
No, but is it related to Supergirl?
Nope, kinda, I guess. It's a kind of a lesser-known property, and James Gunn, ya boy, who took over DC, Superman was his inaugural offering as head of DC with the other boy. What's his name?
Peter Safran.
Something? Yeah. So he had Superman, and then Supergirl, by the time Superman was released, he said was already in the can. Now, that just means filming, principal photography. It does require a lot of work, and I think for movies like this, that's where most of the budget goes, is in post. So if Superman totally bombed, maybe they would have buried Supergirl, which just because it's shot doesn't mean anyone is ever going to see it, as is the case with Batgirl. Now, this is pre-James Gunn, but this was a fully funded and shot, and apparently the effects in post was nearly complete. When HBO decided to shelve, not HBO, when Warner decided to shelve it completely as a tax write-off.
Wow.
Is this a concept with which you're familiar?
The concept in general, yeah, and unfortunately it actually hits pretty close to home, this idea that from a business perspective, studios, production companies will literally shelve projects for whatever reason and take the tax break.
Wow, it blows my mind, because to me as a consumer for most of my life, movies are art and should be seen. Damn the costs. Especially if you've already put the time, the money, and the energy, the livelihood of lots of people into making this production. But unfortunately, it's all about money, and that's not to say that Batgirl, by virtue of the fact that it was done and almost complete, was going to be good, and maybe they really feared its box office prospects.
But there's some real discretion there. If a movie really isn't good, I think that there probably are many points at which people should and could cut losses.
Yeah, but the studios in particular don't pay attention exclusively to reviewers, right? This is kind of public perception, but professional reviewers, even if they don't trash it, they just won't put critic screenings so that they don't have the blurbs they want before the movie is released.
Right.
So when you have properties like this, maybe if you lace it with some stuff that people really will respond to, maybe you have a better shot. A few years ago, The Flash was a massive bomb. It's on the list for the worst bombs of all time, and that's because of how expensive it was. This is pre-James Gunn. Do you know who The Flash had in it as Batman? Michael Keaton.
Wow.
Who before The Flash, I think it was before The Flash, I was like, Michael Keaton returns as Batman in Batgirl. And I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. And then apparently it's not enough, because Michael Keaton actually appearing in The Flash didn't help The Flash. But also, this is a few years ago. It would have been released in 2023. So it was made and announced and conceptualized and shot well before that. Do you know, are we still in the Renaissance, do you think?
The Renaissance. Brendan Fraser?
We almost had a Brendan Fraser month. But at the time he was in, we were like, oh, that dude is in Killers of the Flower Moon coming up. And this thing, The Whale, we don't know what it is, but we're excited to see it. We hope that Brendan Fraser will make a massive comeback. Now he's doing The Mummy. Back then in the early 2020s, he was in Batgirl. And it was going to be a component of his comeback, and then it got completely squashed and shelved by Warner Brothers.
Who played the titular Batgirl?
That is Leslie Grace, who played a character called Barbara Gordon. But look, I mean, tell me who plays Supergirl?
Your girl.
Millie Alcock, who was in House of the Dragon, which is a Game of Thrones spinoff or whatever. I don't know. I don't watch that show. It's hard for me, this idea that they would shelve Batgirl, but I don't care about Batgirl. It's property didn't appeal to me. It's just there's so many things in place, and the fact that it was almost done. Do you know what else Warner Brothers shelved that was almost done, that miraculously is now gonna see the light of day, whereas Batgirl probably won't? They're like, oh, but they paid tribute to it in the newest Lego Batman game, where Batgirl is a playable character, and I guess the villain, the Grasshopper or something, is going to be in that Lego Batman game. But the other companion piece to Batgirl that was shelved has been sold for $50 million for distribution rights or whatever, and is now coming to theaters this August. We should see it to support banned, shelved movies. It's Coyote versus Acme.
That was an impressively long lead up, Wes.
Yeah.
So, we're showing up?
Does anyone care about Roadrunner movies? In particular, I know how long these movies take to make. Just, exclusively animated movies take years and years to make. But there's something in me that says, oh, this is going to be one of those Roger Rabbit blends of physical action, like live action actors, and cartoons, like Sonic the Hedgehog. There's something about the fact that it's several years old now that gives me pause.
I like Will Arnett. I'll show up.
Great. Let's do it and support Coyote versus Acme, because it almost wasn't ever going to be a thing.
Well, there's got to be something there if people are fighting this hard for it.
We'll find out. August, Coyote versus Acme. I hope they get a return on their investment. Thanks for playing. Love you. Bye.
A burst pipe, a dead water heater, the AC calling it quits. Who do you call? HomeServe is an easy way to handle unexpected home repairs, with plans covering stuff basic homeowners insurance usually won't. Instead of scrambling for a contractor, you make one call to get the repair process started. Join the millions of customers who trust HomeServe right now. Go to homeserve.com/podcast for 50% less your first year. That's homeserve.com/podcast. Savings compared to renewal price. Void in Florida.
Electric acid.